When I was younger, probably like 10 or 11, I went camping with my family. I'll just get right into it. It was about 1 or 2 in the morning, and I couldn't really sleep. The tent me and my brother were in was really hot and very uncomfortable. Anyway, while I was trying to go to bed, I heard a very faint whimper. I tried to ignore it because I figured I was just tired. Our campsite was along a road with many other camps nearby. The whimper started to get louder, and then turned into crying. I heard footsteps outside of our tent, and a girl crying her eyes out. Now let me tell you, it didn't go faint. It got louder and louder. It remained in the same spot the entire time. That's so important, because it indicates that she was looking at our tent site, fucking crying. It gets worse. Then it turned into a full-on scream for a few seconds, then cuts out. When she started screaming, my brother woke up. We both looked at each other and just get all of our pillows and stuff our head under them. I couldn't sleep at all that night. I'm just glad we left in the morning. This wasn't camping exactly, but I managed a resort in the Adirondack for several years. The place is old and rustic. It's miles from civilization, and very peaceful. It was built in the 20s and had somewhat of a sordid past. It was built for a Canadian senator who would run rum down from Canada during Prohibition. We still had the underground lock safe where he would store the booze, as well as hidden booze hidden in areas underneath some of the cabins. Calvin Coolidge stayed at a camp across the pond during his presidency, and would visit my camp. For the spirits, I'm sure. Anyway, I met a girl and decided to sleep out under the stars on the camp's peninsula. Well, it started to rain, so I suggested we sleep on the screened-in porch of the boathouse, which I thought was a pretty good compromise. So after we were all set up, it was getting pretty late, about 1:30 a.m. or so. We were laying there, and I was tossing and turning because I had been asleep and woken up, so I have a hard time falling asleep after stuff like that. We lay there for about a half an hour or so, when I hear the bathroom door open in the boathouse. It couldn't have been anything else but that door. I did all the maintenance on the old buildings, and oiling that particular door was on my work list for the next day. My first thought was my boss, the owner of the camp. She's notoriously nosy, and has been known to spy on the staff in their staff quarters, so she was my first logical thought as to who made the noise. Why she would have been hiding out in the men's bathroom in the boathouse for over an hour is beyond my comprehension. I proceed to hear footsteps walking across the bathhouse, down the 3 stairs on the dance floor, and stopping right in front of the door to the screened-in porch. I lay there just waiting for the door to open, and my boss to call my name. And as the minutes stretched out, I started praying that she would open the door, walk away, sneeze, dance the funky chicken, anything. Nothing. The rest of the night I stayed up, stiff and straight as a poker in my sleeping bag. No receding footsteps, no door noises, no nothing. My girlfriend, I, the night, and the empty boathouse. The next morning, my girlfriend, she wasn't at the time, but she was the 4 years that followed, rolled over to me, and immediately asked me about the footsteps the night before. She had also stayed up all night waiting for some other sound to explain those footsteps in the night, and heard nothing. She was terrified, never went to the boathouse again. I unfortunately had to go in the boathouse on a daily basis. Everything was cool during the day. At night, I had to turn all the lights in the camp off. This is something I've done every night for the past 3 years. However, ever after, there was always a sense of dread going in there. Being alone, in the dark, in the boathouse. The worst part is that there is an enormous hanging bed in there in front of the fireplace. It was for the former camp owner to take naps on in the day, hung on chains, so that the bed can be lifted out of the way for entertaining guests in the evening. every single night, that bed was swinging. A 175-pound bed, swinging on its chains in the dark of the boathouse. Until my last day at the camp, if I went in at night, that bed was swinging. A couple years ago, my brother bought a large piece of land out in the middle of nowhere, about 30 miles or so from cell phone reception. It's quiet, there's no light pollution, no paved roads, and not a lot of people around. Shortly after he bought the place, two of my brothers, the landowner and another, me, and other families spent a weekend camping on the land and doing our best to clean it up. People had used it as a dump, there were many downed trees, etc. On the second night we camped there, I woke up in the middle of the night to take a leak. As I was walking to the bushes in the dark, I realized that I could faintly hear music. This didn't strike me as odd because I knew my brother had a radio in his camper. I finished up and went back to sleep with no further thought on the matter. The next morning at breakfast, I mentioned the radio and music. Several other people recalled walking in the night and hearing music, but no two people heard the same music. Finally, the brother who brought the radio woke up. I asked him about the music, and he seemed a bit freaked out. He woke up sometime during the night and went outside to smoke. He heard music as well, and had assumed it was someone else. I should mention that he was the only one with the generator and a radio. It wasn't his radio we heard. It wasn't anyone else's either. I've been back several times, but I'm a bit freaked out by that place at night. I have fun while I'm there, but I'm almost always armed. And I don't sleep in a tent anymore. I sleep in my SUV with the doors locked. It may seem kinda dumb, but realizing that everyone heard different music when there are no other people, no functional radios, and no electricity is quite creepy. Thanks guys for checking out this narration. Please subscribe as I put out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday night. You can also like this video along with commenting. Do you have any creepy camping stories? Which one of those scared you the most? Once you're done doing all that, you can check out playlists of videos from creepypastas to original stories that I've written, even true stories like this one. If you have any scary stories that are true or otherwise and would like for me to narrate it, you can email me at danscares@gmail.com. Until next time, sleep tight.